Greetings and salutations, everyone. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Today I've got a terrifying Dogman encounter that was shared to me by a subscriber. Now, I have had my share of Dogman encounters that have put me on edge. This one is wow. When I read the email and then read the entire encounter, I was shocked. There are certain encounters that get me, just like you guys. The ambulance one was a huge encounter. The subscriber who had multiple encounters with her grandfather, her uncle, just certain encounters stick out, and this one is going to be one of those. Like I say before and always, that a Dogman encounter is always a big event, no matter how small it may seem. Because we are told that they're not supposed to exist. Just a glimpse of one running across the road is enough to affect someone's psyche. Now, before we get into this encounter, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Now, I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with this terrifying Dogman encounter. Shall we? Today's Dogman encounter. Jeffrey, I've been listening to your channel and two others for a couple of years now. I also read everything online in regards to the Dogman. I know a lot of people who have encountered a cryptid and they become obsessed with all cryptids. Not me, just the Dogman. Okay, a couple of things. I've never commented on your channel or the other two. I just listen. I want to share my encounter with you and you alone. My only thing, no names, and you will see why. I'm giving you permission to use my encounter on your channel. So this is my encounter, which I truly believe I am blessed to be alive after. I'm a police officer and have been for 17 years in a city in Kansas with a population of about 18,000. We also have a large wildlife refuge about 15 minutes from the police station. Mind you, prior to what I have seen, I never believed or thought or questioned anything that I could not see or touch. So here's the encounter. It was a hot summer day, August 2017. I'd just gotten to the station and was starting my day. Around 5 p.m. we received a call from a frantic woman stating she had been out on the refuge with her dog, a mini collie, and a creature came out of the woods and grabbed her dog and vanished into the woods. I asked her to please stay out of the woods and go to her car and lock the doors, and I will be there in less than 10 minutes. She sobbingly agrees and hangs up. My brain starts thinking, great, hot day and the wackos are already out. Not her. I was thinking some homeless or drug-addicted person, or worse, a male predator, grabbed this woman's dog to get the woman into the woods and accost her, or even worse. It took me less than 10 minutes to arrive at the parking area and speak to the victim. She told me what had happened. She was visibly shaking and crying. She was, in my eyes, completely terrified. I asked her if she was physically hurt. She was not, and told her to head home. I asked her if she needed a ride home. She refused and drove home. I watched her drive out of the parking area and glanced around the surrounding wood line. At that one moment, I realized it was eerily silent. Nothing, no natural or mechanical noise. Jeffrey, at that point, I was on edge. Prior to becoming a police officer, I was in the armed forces. What branch doesn't matter. The point is, I've had years of training, protecting myself and others. I felt vulnerable, very vulnerable. I, for some reason, reached down and felt my sidearm, almost like a scared child hugs their favorite stuffed animal. I proceed to walk to the trailhead and start walking to where the woman told me this attack happened. Mind you, I'm thinking still this is some weirdo drugged out or just mentally unstable. It's starting to get dark, not black, but where the shadows are cast and play tricks on your eyes. I walk about 400 feet into the woods. I am still on the trail and I notice a dog collar with the lead still attached, roughly 2 or 3 feet off the trail, and notice a fresh path near it. Not really a path or a trail, almost like an animal walked through. I start to look around the rough opening of the path. I've been hunting a few times when I was younger, and my dad and uncle were fairly good hunters and trackers. I noticed the way the brush and scrub are broke and bent. Something large came through here. I radio back to the station and give them my location and may need backup to be on standby. I felt at this point something was watching me. The silence was heavy and I yelled out, "Police department, come out or I'm coming in." Nothing, not a sound. I unholstered my HK-45 and announced I'm coming in. I walk in this path. I go about 200 feet and the pathway ends. The woods are thick like a wall. I start looking around and I notice some blood spots and tufts of buff-colored hair. I hear the brush snapping and an odd growl behind me, to my left in the woods. I slowly turn to the direction where the noise came from. I walk about 10 feet back and start scanning the woods. My eyes catch some movement. What I saw is something that makes nightmares seem tame. I was looking at a dog on all fours. It was huge. Ground to shoulder was about 3.5 feet, at the head a good 4 feet. This fucker was huge. It was a grayish black. When I say gray, I don't mean old. It was blended. It was a beautiful color. Wow. Its head, shape, and face was like that of a wolf. Almost like that picture you use where you just see its face. Its eyes were a glowing greenish yellow. This beast was just staring at me and its hackles were up. I heard this low growl. It was almost continuous. I immediately took aim at this monster dog. Jeffrey, then it stood up. I don't know if I didn't hear it out of shock or there was no noise, but that popping sound people describe. It didn't happen. 1 minute it was on all fours, the next minute it was standing up. It happened in a flash. Jesus, I just got a flashback typing this. I went back a couple days later and took measurements, so when I say it was 9 feet, it was, and maybe more, no less, sir. It was huge, and all muscle covered in fur. We stared at each other for a good minute, and this is exactly what this old boy looked like. A well-defined, muscular body, and through the fur, you could see its tense muscular frame. Its arms were odd, huge biceps, but long forearms. They had muscle, but they were too long. Its shoulders was about 3 feet wide and narrowed as it went to its waist. The chest, I remember thinking the pecs were strange, but muscular with a outward chest cavity. Not like a human, but like a dog. The claws and hands were terrifying. Its hand was about 9 inches with 3-inch claws at the end of it. The genitals were visible. It was male and a proud male. I am not going to get into much detail. Everything was clearly visible and just dangling. The legs were so muscular, the upper part resembled a well-defined runner's leg. It had inverted knees and muscular calves. The feet were weird, like a human foot and a dog paw combined. I can't explain it properly, but they too had claws at the end. We continued to stare at each other, and my HK was aimed dead center in its chest. Its head was huge. Its eyes looked to me like it was calculating what to do next. In one motion, it turned and dropped to all fours and looked back at me and growled this god-awful noise. It kind of snapped its mouth, and that's when I saw its fangs. A yellowish row of pointed teeth. It turned its head and ran out of sight. It just disappeared into the woods. I quickly and carefully made my way out of the woods and back to my patrol car. I sat there for a good while and reported to the station I could not locate a suspect or the missing dog. I drove back to the station in a daze, not believing what I had just seen. I wrote up my report and stated the dog must have been stolen by an unidentified subject, informed the woman that I didn't find her dog or the suspect. She started crying and yelling at me that it was not a person and it was a monster, and hung up. I went home and told my wife what had happened. She was not skeptical of my story, but we both agreed to tell no one. When I said I went back and took measurements, it was a couple of days later. It was my day off. I was armed with my service pistol. I went back to that path. It was a very nice day and the atmosphere was normal. I walked to where the Dogman was standing and took out my tape measure and measured the trees. It was no less than 9 feet. I did notice some remains of a torn-up animal, but it was unrecognizable. Since that day, I've been researching, like I said, everything I can find that's related to the Dogman. I've since tried to contact the woman and her family, but apparently she moved about 7 months after the incident happened. I don't know if she moved because of the incident, but I can only assume. I was lucky, and I thank the Lord every day. I'm very careful when I go on calls near the refuge or the woods now. Thank you for your channel and work. Be safe, everyone. Now, when I got that email, it was last night around, I want to say 9:30. I read it, and I read it again, and I was like, wow. I reread the encounter this afternoon, and like I said, there are certain stories that will stick out in my mind. Not that they're better, not that they're more terrifying, but I don't know if it's the writing or if through the writing you can feel the feelings that this person experienced during that encounter. But there are a few encounters that I put on a video solo, and this is one of them. First, we are dealing with a police officer who has been a police officer for a very long time. A very rural community, a large woodsy area. I was thinking when I was reading this, like, he goes into this path and all I can think is like a deer trail or something. But when he explains that he came to the end, it was almost like the Dogman was using that area as like a bedding area, or maybe it was setting up an ambush, or maybe, who knows. But then for some reason it was off to the side, which is terrifying. You turn around and you start to walk back, and then boom, you see this monster hellhound thing, and then all of a sudden it stands up. The detail that this man shares is just... And one thing that stuck out is the glowing yellowish green colored eyes. It's just very, they're either red or for some reason they're always like a glowing color, which just has always interested me. A couple of times we've gotten blue eye shine. Then the teeth, how he described the teeth. Usually people say they're white. Very white. He describes them as yellowish, which I don't know if it was the darkness or what, but he was pretty close. I mean, I don't really know how close, but to distinguish white and yellow, like I said, it was getting dark, but Jesus, man. What an encounter. What a friggin' encounter. And then to be obsessed. We always hear about that obsession after an encounter. It's always. But this guy is just obsessed with the Dogman. No other cryptid, which is very, very interesting to me. Because he may just have some crazy theories and ideas. I'm going to send him out an email and see what he's got cooking in that brain of his. Now, speaking of theories, I have a couple that I've been actually thinking about a lot. A couple of theories on a cryptid that is Dogman related, comparable to the Dogman. Many, we're talking that family. Also, I've been thinking a lot about these cryptids that we cannot name. And I've been doing a lot of research, and I've come up with a lot of information. And right now, I have compiled some encounters with the information that I've come up with from the scientific community. So I've actually went and kind of started reading scientific studies and stuff like that to see what is what. I don't want to look like an idiot, nor do I want to come off like a know-it-all. Because, like I say all the time, cryptozoology is the study of the unknown. Once we prove, then it's biology. Which is very important to me. I definitely don't want to come off like a pompous, know-it-all, arrogant prick. Because I'm constantly learning. I'm learning from you guys. I'm learning from books. I'm learning from everything. And it's just amazing. So I've got these two really great theories coming up that I'm going to be narrating to you guys very soon. I've got some great Dogman encounters coming up. I feel like 2020 is going to be a good friggin' year. I actually am starting to take some steps. Yes, I am taking some steps. Baby steps, but steps. There's still a lot of pain. And I think that's just from putting weight down on my feet. But I think 2020 is going to be a very good year for me. I feel physically good. The depression is gone. I'm trying to get this book together. Wow, and I cannot wait to do some hands-on field research. It's going to be awesome. I'm gaining weight. It's I'm very happy about a lot of things. I've got my boy, the Disciple, who is from the West Coast, digging and doing some research for me about the Sasquatch and possible other encounters in Washington. I don't know if you guys remember the stick apes or stick people. During that, I did that encounter a while back, and he actually said, I know where those logging trails are, dude. He's like, they're not that far from me. So I've got him doing some research. Hopefully he can give me some good stuff. It's just going to be a great year for all of us. My channel's growing. The subscribers that I have, you guys are amazing. I like how we don't have bickering. I like how it's just we got a good thing going here. And yeah, I get a couple of trolls that want to, can't believe Dogman, it doesn't exist, prove it. Fuck off, man. I don't have to prove anything to you. Prove that you're a person and not some sort of amoeba. Just wow, I don't know. And it's not even 2020. We got a couple more days, a week left or whatever. But man, this is going to be good, guys. 2020. Dogman Encounters with Jeffrey Nadolny. We are going to fucking rock 2020 in. Damn right. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this encounter as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this senseless rambling. Merry Christmas to everybody. And I'd like to thank 3 subscribers who sent me some Christmas gifts. I'm not going to do names. I received some amazing paracord everyday carry, some keychains, some paracord bracelets, and an amazing paracord lanyard with a neck knife. Awesome. I love survivalist shit, man. I am hooked. For some reason, I just want to, like, when I do my hands-on field research, you're going to see me. I'm going to look like some SWAT team fucking throwback idiot. You're going to laugh. You're going to be like, what's he think he is? But that's me. I'm a dork. Another subscriber sent me a beautiful werewolf shape-shifting encyclopedia. And another subscriber sent me a donation to the channel. A very large donation to the channel. And wow, that was awesome. And all of you guys have sent me well wishes and happy Christmases and happy New Year's and Kwanzaa and whatever. You guys are awesome. And without you, this channel would be nothing. I would just be some bum sitting in a small room talking into a mic like I'm doing right now with no one listening. So thank you very much. Merry Christmas, and I bid you farewell.